everyone, welcome to Special Presentation with Mike and Ethan. Or,
Alf will not be seen tonight.
it is still the month of MAYrio. And we had another movie planned for this one, but then I remembered this and I was like, oh, it kind of counts as a Mario movie. I mean, it's about Mario, even if it's not about Mario himself. Mike, have you ever seen Mac and Me?
I love Mac and Me.
I love Mac
Uh,
and Me too. It's awful. I love it.
I watched it as a child, and I thought it was so much better than E.T.
Did you
Uh,
really?
I always thought E.T. was kind of depressing,
Yeah.
but Mac and Me was just a fun romp. Um, I loved the scene where they go to have a birthday party at McDonald's. Like, I legitimately thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And I especially loved when the teddy bear is, like, dancing at McDonald's. And Ronald's there, too. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, there is definitely nothing like that in E.T. I don't think. I mean, I've seen Mac and Me about 10 times more than I have E.T. But,
I mostly remember that ET is always dying. The whole
yeah,
movie.
the
They
whole
like
movie.
they bring this disgusting alien like turd into Elliot's life just to die. Like he's
Yeah.
just lying there. He starts turning white, literally like a turd
Yeah.
that sits around too long, turning white. And everyone's all, "Oh, we're so sad that ET is dying." Why is he dying? I can't remember why he's dying. Does he because he smells Earth air and it's bad for him or something? I
No,
don't
that's
know.
the Martians.
Oh, okay.
I have no memory of what caused E.T. to die because I only ever saw E.T. once,
Ugh.
and I wasn't even young. I was in my 20s. I was just like, okay, so that's E.T. I was like, gotta say, it was much more emotionally affecting to see Optimus Prime die than E.T.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Optimus Prime. I mean, obviously you have a pre-existing relationship with Optimus Prime from the cartoon series, but also Optimus Prime is more of a character in the Transformers movie. You
Yeah,
know,
even in just the
ET.
first 15 minutes before he dies.
Yeah, like ET is literally just this like. It's like, oh my god, why does Elliot like so enamored with this awful little man? Oh, I hate ET. And then he like his heart starts glowing halfway through the movie. And it's like I guess is that I don't know what's up with that. Is it supposed I guess it's supposed to symbolize his connection to Elliot and how he's like got a great heart or something. He's all heart that ET, but it's
Yeah,
just kind of like
they
ET.
they
Why don't I
literally
get that
say
looked
that
at?
his chest appears to be all heart.
Yeah. Oh, do they say that in the
Yeah, they
movie?
do. They literally say that when
Oh,
they're like dissecting him.
fucked up, man. I don't like that movie. And like, I'll tell you something. I'm not down with ET. I'm not down with ET the extraterrestrial. I am down with Alf the alien life form, but
Yes.
not ET. Anyway,
How about Nuki?
I've never actually seen that.
Me neither. I would like to see Nuki. It's fascinating that they got this movie that they thought was an ET clone, and then like literally half of it is white supremacist propaganda that they had to record most of another movie over.
It's wow. I bet Nuki would be a real hit nowadays.
Yeah,
On X or whatever. But why were we talking about Mac and Me? Is it somehow comparable to the movie that we watched for this
it's
this
absolutely
episode?
comparable. So now that we know that you like Mac and Me better than ET, you think it's more fun, you think that the characters are more appealing. Which do you prefer, Rain Man or the Wizard?
Well, I've never seen Rain Man, so I can't actually answer this question.
Yeah, me neither.
Um, but I will say that The Wizard, is a movie that when I watched it, I could tell if I had seen this movie when I was 5 or 6 years old, I would probably have a lot of warm feelings for it.
Uh huh.
Kind of like the Goonies, which I love because I saw it when I was 5 or 6 years old. And even though I watch it now and I'm like, this is objectively a terrible movie, I still love it. Since I did not see The Wizard when I was 5 or 6, I don't have those feelings for this movie.
Yeah.
But it didn't offend me. It didn't offend me.
Yeah.
It just
I feel like this is the definition of your frequent refrain of "It's fine, it's for kids."
Yeah. Is this a movie? So, Ethan, did you see this movie as a kid?
Yes, I saw it in theaters, and
Oh,
the problem. And I was absolutely the core demographic for it, in that I was already a Nintendo maniac and was super excited to see a movie that was about Nintendo games. It's not enough about Nintendo games.
no, no, it's not. I figured, like, when I was watching this, I was wondering what your feelings about this movie were, and my thoughts were like, okay, if Ethan saw this as a kid, then he's definitely like a big fan. Like this is a cult movie for him.
Absolutely.
But if he didn't, then I don't think he would care for it very much. But yeah, so this is basically like your Goonies. It sounds like.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a movie that I loved as a kid that I think is objectively bad, but I mean, I keep showing those to you, and you keep loving them. I mean,
Oh, really?
you were amazed, you were kind of blown away by Transformers the movie. You were completely unprepared for the Brave Little Toaster.
True, true. I mean, I don't think either of those are objectively bad. I think
No.
they are. I think they take a lot of big swings that they don't necessarily make.
Yeah.
But I would say this movie is the closest to an objectively bad movie that you showed me. Just because, like, it's a very strange movie. I
It
mean, it's
really
not
is.
strange. It's a movie that is so 1989. You know.
It could not
Um,
be made at any other time than 1989.
Yeah, it's like everything in this movie is just like it's 1989. But also, it's like when I watched this movie, I was like, there's no moment in this movie that has any connection to our reality. It is just every single thing that happens is like completely insane and would not happen in real life, which is not necessarily a bad thing because it's fiction, and fiction is obviously kind of a heightened reality. Things
Right.
happen because they're necessary for the plot or the theme. That isn't random stuff like in our reality. But so that's not a complaint. It's just more of a, oh, that's funny that everything kind of happens like that. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, as we go
Yes.
through this.
There's a lot to talk about in this movie. It is, this is, most of what we do on our show, because, we have we focus on something that is by its nature pretty on the fringes of society. Not a lot of people are like, "Oh, I love things based on comic strips." But when you get into stuff based on video games, that's where cult classics happen. We've watched a few cult classics on this, like Fritz the Cat and not Heavy Traffic, the other thing, Heavy Metal.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That's true. This you can see. I can see why this movie is a cult classic, because it's about video games, which would have really spoken to kids in 1989. I mean, if I had seen this movie in 1989, I probably would have been really excited. I would have also been really excited to see a movie with a video game in it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, understand that no kid who wanted to see this movie was really excited for the plot about a traumatized boy becoming a video game champion. They wanted to see footage of video games.
Yeah, which is kind of funny when you realize that, like, because I guess Nintendo kind of made this as a marketing thing for Super Mario Brothers 3. It looks like,
Yes.
because that's the game I see in it. Um, and
Even on the actual movie poster, Mario has a place of honor right next to the logo,
yeah, so Nintendo made this as
along with along with a jet plane, a cobra from Hudson's Adventure Island, a sidestepper crab from Mario Brothers, and some sort of yelling Oni mask.
yeah, it looks like it looks like they tried to redesign Sinistar as a villain in Centipede. But this, what I think is funny about this movie is that Nintendo was making this as a way to promote uh,
To
Super
Super
Mario
Mario
Brothers
3,
3.
but which, would sell itself, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They could have made this movie way more commercial. Like they literally, I mean, it is for all intents and purposes like a 2 hour commercial, but they literally could have made it a 2 hour commercial for Mario Brothers 3 and then been real obvious with it, because they
Yeah.
were trying to make it subtle by kind of adding in this whole plot line about this traumatized kid. They could have just made it like 2.5 hours of the kid playing Mario Brothers 3, and kids would have liked it more. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, especially
um,
because it was, not to give too much away about the movie, but you don't get to see anything exciting about the video games. I mean, the kid never gets further than World 1 in Mario 3. It's like,
no.
come on. You don't need to be like, it's like, Jimmy, get the hammer suit. Nothing really exciting like that.
Nope, nope. They do. We do get to see that kind of end of stage slot machine thing they do.
Yeah.
Which I remember is one of. I've never actually played Mario Brothers 3,
No.
except in department stores where it was like on. They had one that you
Oh
could
yeah.
practice play on.
Yeah, I remember. I remember those, and I remember being like, "Well, don't you have anything besides Mario 3? I've already played this."
I remember like playing it a little bit. I do remember that slot machine thing, but otherwise not a whole lot. But I mean, it is a game that I was familiar with, and if in 1989 I would have been jazzed to see a movie about it.
Yeah, I would have been more jazzed to see a movie based on it, but
Yeah. Well, I assume that. Well, this movie does not. I was going to say I assume it was cheaper to make this, but this movie does not seem cheap.
no,
This
I don't think
movie,
so.
no. I mean, it's a long movie. There's a lot of stunts. A lot happens, and apparently, like the director's cut is even longer. Um, they were like, it just feels like apparently they were just filming like endless footage, and plus they got some big stars in it.
Yeah,
Um,
we got Bo Bridges, we got Christian Slater, and of course the only young male actor between 1988 and 1993, Fred Savage.
Yeah, he was a big deal, so this is a big movie, and
Yeah.
it's also funny because you realize, he's not a good actor.
Gee, I was thinking he was a surprisingly good actor for his age.
He's good he's good at playing Kevin Arnold.
Yeah.
You know, he's good
I
at doing
mean,
it. Oh,
yeah, but
you know,
I mean, I don't think this character is very different from Kevin Arnold.
no, I mean it's a part he was born to play.
Yep.
It's he'll forever be in our hearts. Fred Savage, the kid from Princess Bride and The Wonder Years, and the Wizard, and probably some other stuff. I don't know. He
And
was in other stuff.
oh shoot, what's his name? Uh, from the claymation dinosaurs movie.
Oh, he was in that.
Yeah, though. Yeah, because it's the short film where he's like, all I care about is dinosaurs. What can I do for school? I know, I'll write about dinosaurs.
Oh, right. That is him. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Man, yeah.
one of his
He's
earliest roles.
boy, yeah, he really got like all the roles that kids will remember.
Yeah, Little
I love the
Monsters,
poster. Oh shit, I forgot that. Yes.
which is
Yeah,
very
boy,
similar in that it's about he's a big brother who has to look after a incompetent little brother.
yeah. I am looking at the poster for this movie, and again, when you say 1989, the outfits are so 1989.
I love. Yeah, I mean, you can't get more 1989 than running away with your skateboard.
Yeah. And it's 1989. So okay, so what background do we need to tell the people about the Wizard? Assuming we have people in the audience who are not familiar with the Wizard.
Okay, the wizard. I mean, do we have to say the year 1989 again?
Everyone. It was 1989.
Okay, repeat after me. 1989. So this movie was in fact more or less. One of the things that spawned this movie is that Nintendo was really pushing their stuff in non-video game form because there was actually a shortage of chips. So they actually couldn't make as many video game cartridges as they would like to. So a bunch of very high-profile games got pushed back. Zelda 2 didn't come out until much later, and Super Mario 3 didn't actually make it to the United States until 2 years after its Japanese debut.
Oh, geez. Hard times. So I guess they were like, we're branching out into movies.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, let's see. Wikipedia says that in 1989, Tom Pollock of Universal Studios approached Nintendo of America's marketing department about a video game film. He envisioned a video game version of Tommy for younger audiences. Have you ever seen Tommy?
I have. I think you would have to change a lot in Tommy to really appeal to kids, and I feel like they did that. I feel
Yeah.
like this is probably a good adaptation of Tommy for a young audience.
But it really feels like, feels more like Rain Man to me.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely that element. This is a movie that, let's just say, a very 1989 depiction of mental illness, I guess you could
Yes.
say. Or not, or I don't know how you would describe this.
Yes. Our main
Mental,
character, the titular wizard, has at least two issues. Yeah, I mean,
yes,
one is that he okay. Did you ever see Scrooged?
yes,
Okay, remember the little boy from Scrooged? He's like that. He basically has become nonverbal since witnessing the death of his sister.
yes. Um, there's okay. Several things about this whole thing. Okay, is this kid? That is what we are told eventually
Yes.
is his issue. He's become nonverbal since witnessing the death of his sister. Because PTSD. Now, for the first half of the movie, though, they basically tease it as if he is some sort of nonverbal autistic.
Yes.
And
He shows a
and
lot of autism coded things silently playing away from kids and stacking up blocks and stuff. So
yes,
I think he is autistic in addition to PSTD. And
yeah.
you talk to autistic people and they're like, "Yep, yeah, that sounds about right."
Yeah, and that's the thing is like this movie, since it's from 1989, doesn't really kind of differentiate a lot of this. They're just kind of like, oh, PTSD that causes autism, right? It's kind of like it's very like,
It's very
it's
like,
like in,
it's very like my child was the age for their first vaccines when they started showing signs of autism. Hence,
yeah,
vaccines cause autism.
yeah. It feels also kind of like in where people are like, well, there's a lot going on here, but like the first half of the movie kind of makes it feel like this is supposed to be some sort of autism or something, right?
Yeah.
And the movie takes pains to remind us over and over that the wizard, what's his name? Tommy, is it? It's not
Jimmy.
Tommy. Thank you.
Jimmy. Woods.
Jimmy. So Jimmy is not handicapped, right? They
Yeah.
say it a few times, even though they want to put him because at one point they want to put him in a home, and
Yeah.
they're object
Which Corey, played by Fred Savage, is staunchly against.
yes,
I wonder what he knows about these homes that he is so against Jimmy going to one.
yeah. But I mean, again, there's a lot happening here because they want that he's like, no, Jimmy's not handicapped, and this is said over and over because the movie understands
Yeah.
that we the audience would not be sympathetic to Jimmy if he was actually handicapped in some way. We'd be like, oh yeah, put him in a home, like right. But
Yeah.
no, they're like, no,
And
no,
of
no.
course,
Yeah.
they run into a lot of people in the movie who are very unsympathetic because they think he's handicapped.
Yeah, yeah. The movie is very much knows that us, the audience, are going to be like, oh no, they want us to understand. Like, no, don't understand. He's not actually handicapped. He actually is deserving of human dignity.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be in a home. He's not one of them.
Yeah.
Which is again,
No, he's normal.
problematic. He's normal, and that's why I think they introduced. Oh, actually, it happened because of PTSD, right? Because they stuck that in, so because there needs to be a way to fix it. It's kind of like in Dexter when it's like, why is Dexter got multiple personality disorder? Why is Dexter a not multiple personality disorder. Why is he a serial killer?
Oh, that
It's like,
Dexter.
oh, you mean the thing that in real life usually happens because of like, years of prolonged abuse, not to mention, probably innate psychological issues. It's because he saw like he got traumatized by witnessing a murder, and it's like, oh, that's not how PTSD works.
And the only
That's
way
not.
to stop the voices in his head is to do more murders, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't feel like they had a psychiatrist on set to consult about this sort of thing. But the wizard, like, there's that. Also, there's the fact that Jimmy is actually not nonverbal. He talks, he communicates. He just doesn't talk very much.
Yes.
Because in the beginning, he apparently just like he has a tendency of like running away from home. He just walks away. He leaves, right? And his parents, or I should say, well, let's before we get into
the
that,
family situation is very confusing here.
it's so confusing.
I mean, the mother and father are split up, and I'm not certain if the mother and father are split up because of the death of the daughter. That it's kind of implied. The mother is remarried to this guy who's basically like the evil Joe Isuzu.
I love this guy. He's so 1989.
It's so 1989.
He's got like a 3-piece suit. He's like, he's very obviously like, I'm mad, I'm missing my businessman's lunch, every minute of the day.
I'm Bob Executive. Which way to business?
Yeah, he's so like, he's just like such an asshole. But okay, so I think here's the family situation as I understand it. Okay, Beau Bridges was married to a woman and had Corey Feldman and Christian Slater were their kids. The woman died, so Beau Bridges remarried another woman and had Jimmy and Jennifer with the second woman.
Okay.
And then after Jennifer's death, they divorced. She remarried this asshole, but she got Jimmy in the divorce, and he kept his kids from the first marriage.
Yes.
So it's incredibly convoluted because I guess they had to explain why Jimmy is with the mom and the other brothers are with the dad.
Looking up Christian Slater, he was born in 1969, so he would have been 20 at this point. So I'm not sure if Dad has custody of him or if he's just living there.
Yeah, it's unclear exactly if he is supposed to be a teenager or just still living at home. But he's Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Slater! So the family situation is a little confusing, especially because, both of Jimmy's parents, as in his natural father, Beau Bridges, and his natural mother, what's
Wendy
her name?
Phillips.
I don't know the actress.
Yeah.
Wendy Phillips, sorry.
As
Neither of
Christine.
them...
Yep.
Yeah, neither of them seem really that interested in Jimmy. However, his stepbrothers bonded with him a lot, much more than his actual parents. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, the thing is, Jimmy keeps running away from home, and when he runs away from home, he says he's trying to get to California.
Yes.
Like, he says that.
In fact, that's the only thing he says is California.
Yeah.
So in this weird droning tone. And he
always
brings a lunchbox with him. That's important. But what's in the lunchbox is not revealed until much later.
No. But the thing about this, which I think is so funny, is like, Jimmy's parents are at the end of their rope. They're like, we don't know what to do. And it's just like, well, why don't you take him to California? I mean, he's saying where he's trying to go. It's like, we've had him in this special school for 2 years and he's not getting better. And, it's like, well, why don't you, he's literally telling you what he wants. Why don't you try that? But also the way they're acting is like, wait, he had a trauma from witnessing a death, so you put him in a special school. Like, nothing makes, like I said, nothing in this movie makes any sense or has any relation to actual reality. But I
think that's what I like about it, is that this kind of reflects the world that kids thought they lived in 1989. When I saw this as a kid, nothing about it struck me as unrealistic because I was 9.
Yeah. Like again, I'm not trying to say this as a complaint because as a movie, like movies don't have to be realistic and usually they aren't because if a movie was realistic, most movies would end in like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and everyone would just get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, the old
But
I remember what's her name? Oh, I don't remember her name. The woman who wrote Juno. She was asked,
Mhm.
well, why didn't Juno just get an abortion? And she said, because then there wouldn't have been a movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it is. Like obviously so many things in this movie don't make sense. For example, like so we understand Jimmy wants to go to California. And so Corey hearing somehow in the next scene Corey has heard that this is happening and it's like wait and immediately I was like okay how did you hear you live in a pre-internet time did your mother send you a letter or a phone call to tell her that she's putting your stepbrother in the home? It doesn't seem like she's communicating with you. So how did you find this out? Unclear. Doesn't matter. Now it does not matter.
No.
It's a movie. We're moving forward. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of this sort of thing where things happen. And as an adult, I'm like, well, I hope someone got fired over that blunder. But then, Corey just shows up at the home, which is, I guess, in a different town, and walks right in. There's no security or anything to prevent him from just kidnapping Jimmy from the home. They get in a hostess truck and just leaves across the desert. And
Did you figure out what state they were in?
Utah.
Yeah, it's Utah. They're Utahns. I looked up that name and now I'm just like, yay, Utah. I just want to say it over again. Utah.
But then it's funny because they call like the parents and they're like, yeah, they were sighted getting in a hostess truck and leaving. And it's like, oh, so you know what happened. You saw them leave in a hostess. No, nobody stopped this. Okay.
Yeah.
I would honestly be like, wait, I put my son in your care and he got kidnapped within one day. You saw it happen and you didn't stop it. Why, the asshole stepdad is right to be angry at this point.
Yeah.
But then of course Beau Bridges and the Steps brothers show up and they're determined to get Jimmy because they care about him. Meanwhile, the asshole stepdad is hiring a bounty hunter to get Jimmy.
Yeah. A pediatric bounty hunter, one might say. One who specifies in runaway kids. And I was...
Yeah.
I only just a couple weeks ago saw the video that... I don't remember. What's his name? The NES Works guy, Jeremy something or other, where he did a review of this and was very angry because Mr. Putnam, the nerdy bounty hunter, looks exactly like him.
That's funny. Yeah, give me. Sorry, gotta feed the cat.
Feed the cats. Yep, the cats are now a regular co-star on this show.
Yeah. Watch this. Watch the cat actually eat. That's the question. Did you close the door?
Meow.
I just thought you were going to give me a cat.
Did you really get the cats to eat? Oh my god, you're a wizard.
I'm like a wizard. I'm a wizard getting cats to eat. What? Yeah, I'm putting it in the dish.
Oh, you said watch if she actually eats it.
No, I'm just talking. Let's talk to Ethan. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I do think that this is where Mr. Putnam, the bounty hunter, is kind of funny because, it's kind of odd because I feel like he basically showed up on set and they were like, yeah, just go on, you're fine how you are. No, wait, 1 second, put a bolo tie on him.
Yeah.
And that was like the only thing they changed because I was kind of thinking like, okay, he feels like he should be kind of like almost like a cowboy type character, maybe a little bit like the lone biker, the apocalypse character that was in Raising Arizona. But instead, he's like this complete like nebbish, but he just has a bolo tie, and the look of the character feels very incongruous with, I think, how we're supposed to feel about him or what he's supposed to signify. But also,
well,
like
I mean, this is, since it's kind of a struggle between the good dad and the bad dad, we have him as the really bad dad. It was
That's
like,
true, yeah.
if you don't, if you don't shape up, we're gonna send Willie Tanner to get you.
I guess he's kind of, like he's the comic villain, like
Yeah.
this asshole dad. You hate him, but like you kind of fear him. Whereas this guy, you hate him, but like you can laugh at him.
Yeah.
He's a classic bumbler.
Yeah.
He's one of those
The bad dad,
characters that-
Mr. Bateman. If he got punched out, you'd be like, oh shit, now someone's gonna get sued.
Yeah, I actually thought watching this movie that Mr. Bateman was played by Alan Thicke.
He does look a little like Alan Thicke.
It's not Alan Thicke though, so he doesn't go Mike. Yeah. So, but Mr. Putnam, the bounty hunter, the way I guess basically he's one of those characters who gets more and more beat up through the course of the movie. And his car gets more and more damaged. So, comic relief.
Speaking of Raising Arizona, the Mr. Bateman was in fact played by somebody from Raising Arizona. He was the guy. He was Nicolas Cage's boss.
Oh shit! That's so funny.
Yeah, the foreman. Yeah.
Wow. So he's very good at playing assholes. Apparently.
And he was in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
as the uncle who wears. Oh wait, no, that's not him. Shoot. Where is it? His name was Clark's co-worker at the food preservative company. I don't remember that scene.
Neither do I. It's been a while, so. All right, so but he seems like he is born to play assholes.
Yeah,
and he's good at it. So basically, Fred Savage and Jimmy are escaping across the desert in a hostess truck. They're pursued by Christian Slater and Bo Bridges in their own truck, but also Mr. Putnam.
Yeah.
And the thing about this movie is, again, 1989. It is a shockingly long for a kids movie. From
I was looking at it. It's like 1 hour and 40 minutes, and they had to cut it down from 2 hours and 30.
Yeah, and the thing is, it did not need to be this long because there is a lot of just like rambling around.
Yeah,
because,
there's a big travel montage. Actually, two.
There's a lot of just driving and like filming stuff you see along the road in the desert.
Yeah,
which is a lot of nothing.
It's like, look, somebody put their Volkswagen Beetle on spider legs.
Yeah. There's a lot of just like, boy. But the thing is, ultimately, what the movie wants to do is get to Los Angeles so we can go to the World Video Game Championship and Jimmy can win. That's what the movie's goal is. But the characters, for most of the movie, have no goal. They're just wandering around. They don't figure out that they should go to Los Angeles and try video games until about like, a third of the way through the film.
Yeah.
It's not like Jimmy's goal at any point. He's not like, they don't even know that he's a video game savant.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Actually, that's about when they find out is when they go to the bus station and they say 2 tickets to California, and the guy's just like, anywhere in California? I just want us to drop you off at the border. And meanwhile, Jimmy is playing Double Dragon on a Play Choice 10. Have you ever seen a Play Choice 10, Mike?
I have not.
A Play Choice 10 was something Nintendo was doing to basically get news of what was going on in home games into the arcade. What it was basically a Nintendo with 10 preloaded games, and you put in a quarter and you can play for about 5 minutes, and then it turns it off. Which is, frustrating if you were actually doing really good at a long, involved game like Zelda 2 or something, but they didn't want you, spending the 6 hours to play Zelda 2 on 1 quarter, so they had to put it on a timer.
Huh.
So
I feel like that would be really annoying.
Yeah, it was really frustrating, and when it was over, you heard a voice say, "Oh wait, no, this wasn't it. No, that was later." I was confusing it with something from like the Nintendo 64 era where you'd play a sample of a game and then you'd hear Mario say, "Thank you so much for playing. Who's next?"
Okay. Huh. Okay. So Jimmy's
But
playing one of these.
because this movie is about advertising not arcade games but the Nintendo Entertainment System, they live in a world where every arcade is full of Play Choice 10s.
Again, this is a film with no relation to anything that you've experienced in reality.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's fine. I think another thing that like again when they're at this bus station. Now, when you said it's kind of how a 9-year-old views the world, I think that was very apt. That's very true because it's just how adults have no concern at all for these small children wandering through the world unaccompanied. This bus station attendant could not give less of a shit about their predicament. Which is pretty funny.
The adults in this movie do not take the children seriously unless there's money involved. That is what keeps blowing my mind, is that over and over in this movie, these children are making bets with adults, which the adults then honor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, it's like, you can't Welsh on a bet, even when it's with a small child, That is very funny. Like, yeah, because they basically, in this bus station, they meet Haley, a girl. Yes. And Haley is a very specific kind of archetype that you find a lot in these films, which is this kind of like tough girl hustler who, who's always trying to make a buck, but like, also you can tell the moment they introduce, she's always like, oh yeah, she's got like hidden depths of sadness. She does this because she's sad inside, I can't think of an example, but I know I've seen this type of character in like so many kids' movies. And one of the big things this type of character does is like, weasel adults out of their money through not through prostitution, child prostitution, which would be the most. I'm sorry, but if you're a runaway child, that is the most obvious way in real life, unfortunately, that you would get money out of random adults.
It's the first thing you do.
Yeah, luckily, this is not that world. Thank God. These children do not get sexually assaulted at any point, although they do get robbed for $20 at one point by some truckers.
Yeah. They lose money multiple times, but it's usually about $20. That almost feels like losing a life in video game terms.
It kind of does. Well, it's funny because I feel like, obviously, money nowadays, if someone would not, if you got robbed for $20 because of inflation, you'd be like, well, what are you going to do with that $20? Buy a candy bar, Yeah. But even in 1989, like I feel like $20 is just like pretty penny ante, Like,
well, that if they lost $40 total, that's how much a Nintendo game cost.
Yeah, I do remember that. But still, I feel like if I was a trucker, and I saw that like these children in the bed of my truck had $20, I wouldn't immediately just pull over and like go back there and start assaulting them to get that $20. Like if I saw they were flashing around like 1,000 or maybe even 100. I'm saying if maybe I would attack a child to get $100 bill. Maybe. But $20 is like, I know, I'm not. It's not worth it.
This is a weird retelling of the Aesop's fable of the dog and his shadow.
I'm just saying. Like, look, we all have like a threshold at which we would be comfortable attacking a child, beating up a child,
yes.
To steal, and like. I don't think I would do it for $20. Yeah. Maybe for $1 million. If they came and said, "Hey, if you beat up this child, we'll give you $1 million," I'd be like, maybe I need to think about that. That's a lot of money. Like,
man, O'Mealis really is a terrible place after all, isn't it?
How badly we have to beat up this child? Because honestly, like, they don't even injure These kids, they're walking around the next scene. They're fine. So,
one person gets a black eye, but it's not the kids.
No, again, this is one of those movies where there's a lot of comical violence against very specific comical adults. But but anyway, yeah. So, but the main takeaway is that the kids are hustling. They're video game betting. They're betting on video
games against much older adults who should know better.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't really feel so bad that these 50-year-old possibly World War II veterans are getting suckered out of their money.
No, I mean,
what do you think? You think you can beat me at 1941? I was there.
It is very funny. Like, look, if I were in an arcade, I'm speaking as an old person,
yes.
Right? If I went into video card arcades don't exist anymore, right? But let's just say, for the sake of argument, like I, as an old person, got my hand on a Roblox game, right? And I'm playing Roblox, and a small child came up to me and was like, "Well, maybe you want to play for money?" I would be like, well, this is clearly something is happening here, right? First of all, this child wants to bet me. What's going on? And secondly, the child wants to bet me on a thing that children are good at. This is their natural habitat. But so yeah, these people.
And also this child that is you're 2 feet taller and 100 pounds heavier than is going to be like, cough it up, I won. You're like, no. Where are your parents?
Yeah, no, but I guess they're like, well, that's a bet, you're ready to be beaten by a child. You don't want the further emasculation of welching on a bet. Although they actually do meet like a gang of bullies who do welch on a bet at one point. I do want to mention, because while this is all going on, Bo Bridges and Christian Slater, who have been chasing Corey and Jimmy and Haley at this point, I guess, they basically their thing is that I guess they have a strained relationship, which is not really elaborated on. I guess Christian Slater seems to have a drinking problem that is brought up exactly once, but is more prominent in the director's cut. Mostly what happens is they're arguing about Chris Slater just always wants to stop to get food.
Yeah. I was like, wow, Mike, you didn't tell me you were in this movie.
Yeah. And it's because Bo Bridges is just kind of mad about it, but every time they stop, he sees the bounty hunter and they get in a fight. Yeah. And
actually, the first thing that happens is he makes a casserole, and the kids don't want to eat it. So it feels like his character arc is he wants the kids to have decent food, but he can't provide it, and they always have to go get fast food.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and that's why he's very resentful when they have to go to diners in the desert now. I do like when I was one of the moments, I think, that the moment when I really it hit me how divorced from reality this film was, and again, this is not a complaint, because it is a complaint. I'm complaining like an old person.
Yes.
But this is the sort of thing that who cares? But I think it's funny. While they're driving through the desert at one point, Christian Slater's asleep, and Bo Bridges is like, wake up and look at the map and tell me where I am. And Christian Slater looks at the map, then looks out at the featureless desert.
Yeah.
And immediately figures out oh no, the map says we're in the wrong place. How the fuck do you know where you are? There's no landmarks. There's no road signs. No. There's no way you can just look at a map and surmise you're not where you're supposed. You're not on the map where you're supposed to be. That doesn't make any sense. So things like that happen in the movie, and it's just whatever. Sure. For example, another example I'm going to say is Haley figures out that Jimmy is a savant at video games.
Right.
So she's like, well, we need to enter him in the World Video Game Championship. Okay, in Los Angeles, right? And it's like, oh, really? What video game? All of them. It's just all the video game World Video Game Championship for every game.
Yeah, that's really it's really funny. It's especially funny is that at one point they talk about Nintendo games and say there are 97 of them. It's like that's not even true. There were more than 300 when this movie came out. And that's just the NES games. If you count Famicom games, there's way more.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of things where they clearly were just making stuff up. But
yeah.
It's 1989. You can't Google stuff. Why not? It's what are you gonna do? Say that it's wrong? Would you look up and find out whether the World Video Game Championship is actually every video game or not?
My favorite completely divorced from reality part is when they get picked up by the Hells Angels. Which is, kind of a great moment because at first you're like, oh shit, this is real trouble. And then the next thing you know, the Hells Angels are giving them a ride, which is, a great kind of victory snatch from the jaws of defeat. But all three kids have helmets. And and none of the Hells Angels are wearing helmets. So they were just dragging these along in case they had to give some kids a ride.
I think that's hilarious. Yeah, because they're probably like, look, we can't just have them without helmets. That's imitatable behavior. So, okay, sure, they're wearing helmets like dorks. Because then they take them to Reno, right?
Yeah, they go to. Yeah, I wasn't sure why they were going to Reno because there's like. I was like, is there? I think I assumed that the finals were there, and then you go to the World Championships or something. But nothing video game related is happening there except that Jimmy is practicing more.
Yeah, I kind of thought that. I think the real reason is the makers of the film were like, look, you the audience. You don't know geography. You're an American.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense to think that everything that the trip from Utah to Los Angeles entirely through desert also takes you through Reno. That makes sense, right? It's probably true. So I think they just assumed they were like, it's on the way to Los Angeles. In the world of the wizard, it's naturally on the way.
Yeah. Have you ever driven to? No, of course you've driven to Las Vegas. That's a real pain in the ass because you have to go almost all the way down to Needles and then make a U-turn.
I have, yeah. Generally, you don't. I'm just saying, generally, if you're going through to Los Angeles, you probably you might pass through Vegas. You're probably not passing through Reno.
Yeah.
It's Though I did enjoy seeing the sights of 1989 Reno because as a child, my family did go to Reno fairly often to visit relatives, and I remember that's what it looked like. And I love seeing that biggest little city in the world sign, and it's like, oh, Reno, what a shithole! It's a terrible city, awful. Nothing at all of worth there. If you go there, do not leave the casinos. It's not a town where you want to leave the casinos ever. But it was nice to see that. That's where we Haley, I guess they do some gambling to make some more money because Haley has this
she has this friend here, the one black person in the whole movie as far as I can tell.
Yes,
and he is incredibly helpful, Spanky, and he's incredibly helpful, and he asks for nothing. So I guess that makes him a magical Negro, doesn't it?
It kind of does. Now, he looked so familiar. I was like, I'm sure I've seen that actor in other things. I looked him up. I think he's actually apparently was a football player before.
Oh, really?
Going to acting, but I don't recall any of his other film roles, so I'm sure I've seen him.
He just died at age 80, so I'm glad he was still around. A lot of times oh, he's from Batteries Not Included.
Oh shit! Yeah, okay,
he was Harry. Yeah. Oh, no wonder I liked him immediately. I love Batteries Not Included.
That is another film. That I will love because I saw it. I love because I saw it when I was the right age.
Yeah, exactly. So, Okay, I guess I should put that on my like birthday robot movie list or something, so we can do it someday. I could love
Now,
batteries not included.
I did like when he basically he wins them a lot of money, and they take the money, but they give him like $10 or something. He's
Yeah,
like, "Here you go," and I was just like, "Haley, are you? You're not gonna say it? Hey, here, put it. Hey, Spanky, put it in your Spanky Banky or something." You know, I was really expecting something like that, but she doesn't give us a funny joke here. We do get to see her shitty house because she lives in like an abandoned trailer in the desert. She reveals that she'd been bragging about her cool trucker dad and how they have this big house, and obviously we all knew it was fake. We all knew that she was compensating and that it was not a good home life.
yeah.
I guess it turns out her mom was like a showgirl with a gambling problem, which caused them to lose their house, and so now she just lives in a trailer.
We never see her parents at all. So
No.
what's going on here?
Well, this is not a movie where any problems are really addressed or resolved.
No.
Nothing, at this point, like,
No, she has the weirdest lines. She says, now, when Fred Savage asks, what about your mother? She says, she packed it in. It's like, what the hell does that mean? You mean dead? Why did she say dead?
Yeah. Oh, is that what she meant? I thought she meant she abandoned them or something.
Something like that, yeah. She was a showgirl. Great legs. I got her legs. What do you think? It's like, what a weird thing for a 14 or 15-year-old to say.
Yeah. Well, the thing of, okay, I guess what I'm going to say this is like, I feel like if I had seen this movie at the appropriate age, I would have been like 10 in 1989. If
Right.
I had seen it, right, I probably would have had a huge crush on Haley.
She
Because
is very cute for a teenager. I have a friend who looks a lot like her, actually.
Yeah. I mean, she's cute and like she's got like an attitude that I dig. She reminds me a lot of Bastion's older sister in The Neverending Story 3,
Oh.
who I also had a huge crush on when I first saw that movie.
Wow.
And then it was like, yeah, well, I was the age. I was older and I went back, I looked at it, I was like, oh, she's a child. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought she was an adult like me. But
Also, oh my God, talk about a terrible movie, Neverending Story 3. Jesus Christ.
I'll say, yeah, that is a movie that, like, I actually really enjoyed when I first saw it, like, at age fucking 12 or something. And as an adult, when I see it, I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst piece of shit I have ever seen. It is so bad. I mean,
yeah, when they do a movie trilogy, often there's like, the first one is 100% of the power, then the next one is 66%, and the other one is 33%. With Neverending Story, it's 100%, 0%, negative 100%. The third one is as bad as the first was good.
It's pretty amazing. Because, like, the first Neverending Story is so good. Like, I love that film. I still love it to this day. I think it's one of the greats of the 1980s dark puppet child fantasy boom.
Yeah.
And the second movie is terrible. You're absolutely correct. 0. I will give them credit that they were making an attempt because, I don't know, the Neverending Story of the book?
Yes, and yeah, the Neverending Story 2 part 2 is in fact an attempt to add more of the book to the story. So I appreciate that on that part. I've read the book, and the book is fucking amazing. I mean, as good as the movie is, the book is so much better that, it's really sad that the author, didn't live to see a really good version of the book made. I mean, the Neverending Story deserves a 3-parter like The Hobbit, but better.
Yeah. So they tried the second one. It's not hitting. It's not working. I think it's not very memorable, so I couldn't off the top of my head tell you what is wrong with it, but it's not working.
It's one of those things where you really remember the makeup and puppets, but not the movie.
Yeah. I feel like, was Jim Henson involved with, or the workshop?
Not with the second one. They got involved with the third one, so just in time for it to become terrible.
Oof, embarrassing. Yeah, the third one is, when we talk about a movie completely divorced from reality in every possible way, like the Never Ending Story is like that, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially because it's supposed to be about imagination, and it's still divorced from that reality.
yeah. Like here's the thing: is Never Ending Story 3. When I watch that movie, things are so unreal. Like things like, for example, the main protagonists are like, oh, within the space of 3 days, they celebrate Halloween, Chinese New Year, and Christmas, and so it's so bad, like to that degree, that I am offended by the movie thinks I would notice this. Now, in The Wizard, I've noticed a lot of little like niggling things that are like obviously not correct. Like, oh, Christian Slater wouldn't be able to tell where they are from doing that.
Right.
But these, they don't matter. They're not important. And I'm not offended by those things. I'm just noticing them because I'm an adult watching a child's movie.
Right.
And, but like, it's not like any of those things would ruin my enjoyment if I was, watching the movie. What really ruined my enjoyment? Well, nothing ruined my enjoyment. It was fine. It's for kids.
Yeah.
But anyway, so but while Jimmy is, here's another, actually, there is a bit.
Oh?
Speaking of things divorced from reality, another example of that, and this is, again, not a problem because it's obviously a joke and it's kind of funny, is when Jimmy is practicing in the Reno arcade and not Corey Feldman, sorry,
Fred Savage?
his brother Corey, played by Fred Savage, is like, walks through with sunglasses being real cool, and this like, they've got this like, prepubescent cigarette girl going around selling candy,
That is so funny.
It's so funny, and he's all like, "Hey, babe, come over here. I want to buy a Snickers bar and keep the change." He's very cool, and it's just funny because it's like, wait, what what is happening?
She's like, I'm just a cosplayer.
Yeah, it's like, wait, it's kind of one of those things like, so you know how, and you can imagine the casino heads being like, hey, you know how we have all these sexy dames walking around selling cigarettes to the grown-ups? What if we got some sexy little girls to sell candy in the arcade? We don't leave any money on the table. It's just very funny.
I don't think that's a little girl. I think it's just a short, older woman.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and she doesn't. She has kind of older facial features.
Okay. Okay. It's still funny, I think, that it's happening. Well, you know what? Okay. I don't know.
Actually, maybe she could be 18, but no. I think your interpretation is a lot funnier. That they have adult cigarette girls by the gambling tables, and then kids cigarette girls at the arcade.
Yeah, I mean, are you sure? Because I really feel like that was a kid in there. I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, but the important thing is, while Jimmy is, the bounty hunter comes and grabs Jimmy and is trying to get away, but Haley stops him by falsely accusing him of sexual assault.
Yeah, she shrieks at the top of her lungs and yells, "He touched my breast!" And everyone turns to look and sees that he's got another kid that he's wrestling that, 2 feet away from all the other patrons who were just ignoring it until now.
I mean, what's funny about this is just like, he's obviously kidnapping a child. Nobody cares. So then Haley, from across the room, yells, "He touched my breast." And it's like, and then like a pack of Keystone Cop security guards run in, like pick him up, and just like run out with him.
Yeah, it's like they're running him out of town on a rail.
Yeah,
it's like the end of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
It's exactly like that, and it's funny because it's like this man has just apparently committed sexual assault in the arcade, and all you're gonna do is just dump him outside. You're not gonna like arrest him or anything. Also, are you not going to like the girl who has been sexually assaulted? You're not gonna like interview her or anything. We're not gonna like follow
Do you know
up with
him?
her. Yeah, it's like, again, it's the whole thing is very like, well, this is a movie for 9-year-olds.
Yep.
This is the sort of scene that you put in a movie for 9-year-olds so the 9-year-olds can kind of feel like they're very mature and
Right.
watching something. You know, it's like the pee scene in the Goonies. Like, oh yeah, this is a mature movie for adults, for 9-year-olds. but but anyway, then yeah, because he's then another aspect of this movie, which is interesting and shows that it's 1909, is whenever you're in a jam, you can call. There's a phone number you can call to get help.
Yeah.
Because that just keeps happening in this movie. Putnam calls, I guess, you know, like Putnam, the bounty hunter, at one point calls a number to get like the names of, you know, the addresses of every Healy Brooks that lives in Reno, and they just give it to him, which I guess is public information. So that could happen,
Yeah.
you know. But
I wondered how he found their trailer. I never picked up on that.
Yeah, it's kind of. It is funny that like apparently like because it is literally just like a dilapidated trailer in like in a dried up lake. So it looks like they're living off the grid, but apparently they're not. Because the operator has their address. It's like, yes, she's living in desiccated trailer in dried up lake. Hey, this is Mike. We spoke so much about The Wizard that we are splitting it into 2 episodes. So join us next week for the conclusion of The Wizard.